We got so much to talk about. It's always a pleasure to talk to him. We got the legendary Coach Bill Hayes joining us right now. What's going on, Coach?
Hayes, what's going on?
Good morning. How you all doing?
Doing fantastic, Coach. It is a pleasure to have you on. We really do appreciate you joining us this morning. Man, we got so many things we want to ask you.
Coach, again, I just want to give you all the flowers there is to give and all the praises because you have done so much for the game of football, and I think it was recognized, particularly at Winston-Salem State University, where they have a statue of you, Coach,
right
over there overlooking the field. Just talk about the feelings associated with this recent unveiling of the statue last week and how special it was for you.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. The city of Winston-Salem, this has been a process by which my players, guys that I coached at North Carolina A&T and Winston-Salem State, got together and decided that they wanted to do something in my honor. So what they did, they collaborated with Winston-Salem State, and then they ended up with the city of Winston-Salem because the city of Winston-Salem owns Bowman Gray Stadium,
right?
The property where my statue stands. So the city of Winston-Salem, through the efforts of my former players, especially Donald Evans, who lives in Raleigh.
Yeah, I know Donald. Yep.
Played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first-round draft choice under my supervision back in the old day. Donald led the charge and worked with the city of Winston-Salem to have my statue erected in a stadium, Bowman Gray, where the field is also named after me.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
Very
incredible,
nice,
Coach. That's incredible.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, Coach, when you standing before all the people that was out there at the event where they unveiled the statue, what was going through your mind as you was up there on the podium talking about the event itself?
Well, really, what went through my mind all leading up to this was how hard my mother and father worked in Durham, North Carolina, to provide for 5 children, and that during that time when the opportunity did not exist for us as Afro Americans in America, and how long the road has been for me, and how I promised Mama that I was going to do something special if I was able to overcome polio. I had polio as a kid.
Yes.
And a lot of childhood diseases. And I remember Mama told me once that she was tired of getting off of work, taking me to the hospital because she said, one thing I know about you, you're not going to quit. You broke your thumb, you broke your arm, you broke your leg. You're still out there fighting, trying to make the team. And so just don't call me no more. You take this quarter, take 15 cents to ride the bus out to Duke Hospital. You take another dime to call them and let me know you out there. But I can't afford to get off of work anymore.
Wow.
So I was visualizing that long road, all that I had to fight through during that period to be able to have an opportunity.
Special.
Outstanding. We're talking with the legendary Coach Bill Hayes, football coach. And, Coach, just talking about, that time you spent and then, your upbringing. But you were honored by the ACC United Award for your time spent, of course, coaching at A&T and other places. But more specifically, you were coaching at Wake Forest. A lot of people don't realize that you were coaching at Wake Forest. Talk about that experience coaching at Wake Forest and then like what it felt like being, coaching there and being there and then just understanding that being a trailblazer while you were there at Wake Forest.
Well, I was the first Afro-American coach really east of the Mississippi coaching a position and the first in the Atlantic Coast Conference, black man coaching in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yes.
So I was a pioneer, and but the thing that I learned along the way is that I was probably better than most of them, and I probably made more effort than most of them, and I always acted like I belonged. I never acted like anybody was doing me a favor.
Wow.
By letting me coach, I knew that I put more into it, and I made more effort, and I had more successes than most of the guys that worked with me back during that time. And first of all, I had a motto early on to be first, You know, that was my motto. I'm gonna be at work first. I'm gonna get to the recruit's house first. I'm gonna be on the practice field first. Everything I touch, I'm gonna try my best to be first. When we walk out of the field for the game, I'm gonna be first. And so I had that be first kind of attitude, and so when opportunity came, and with a be first attitude, I couldn't do anything but be successful.
That's awesome. We are excited to be talking to the legendary Coach Bill Hayes. Just kind of staying in that when you were at Wake Forest and moving from that, one of the things that you're known for, and just also being a great coach, but for promoting diversity within the college universities. Can you expound on why that was so important and how that has impacted your life and your players?
Well, you know, back in the day, you all too young to know about the Black Coaches Association and the United Coaches Association. Back in 1977 at the AFC, the American Football Coaches Association, you know, all the black coaches would get together, Eddie Robinson, Jake Gaither, and all the greats during that time. And we formed something called the United Coaches Association. And because, you know, we could go to the AFC, but we didn't play a part in it. We had no voting power. We were not on committees. And so we decided in 1977-78 to start a United Coaches Association. I was elected president. Later on, it became the Black Coaches Association. I became the first president. And so it was just an uphill battle to try to get our foot in the door. Just think about it. Back in the early 80s, there was probably one, maybe two, Doug Williams and Shaq Harris from Grambling were the only black quarterbacks in the NFL. They're 18 now.
Right.
There are 18 black quarterbacks. So we made so much progress over the last 25, 30 years, and it's amazing how much work has been done, and I was a pioneer in the whole process.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why you have a 12-foot statue.
Exactly.
It was the same because of that. Talk about all of the things you've done. We're talking to the great, legendary Coach Bill Hayes. And Coach, I got to ask you this because this day was unexpected in terms of topic, but there's another bill right now that's coming to Chapel Hill, Bill Belichick, and it's got everybody kind of buzzing because the NFL guy coming down to Chapel Hill to coach the Tar Heels. Just talk about when you heard about that and how you feel about that, Coach.
Well, first of all, Mac Brown and I, the former coach at Carl, we were real close. And Mac was a super guy, and he did a lot to help me out, promote me, and support HBCUs. You know, Mac Brown never missed the golf tournament. Right. He was always there supporting historically black colleges. So there was a special place in my heart for Mac Brown, and I think Bill Belichick, that's all going to be revolutionary. Having a Super Bowl winning football coach in Atlantic Coast Conference who happens to be 73 years old, you know, that's really different. And I don't know the take on it. I don't know the take on it yet, you know. But I do know that the NLI, with all the money floating around in college athletics now, and Bill Belichick's familiarity with paying players and talent, you know, I think that all kind of comes together in this hire. We've got to wait and see what it's going to be like, what the results is going to be like, what the high school recruiting is going to be like. High school recruiting for Division I student athletes in this region may be out the window.
Absolutely.
It may be all about looking for the best players, no matter where they are, on somebody else's team, and so on, and having enough money to put in there and go and buy those players. That's what it's all about. So, you know, I kind of feel sorry for the up and coming high school kids now because if they won't have the same kind of opportunities going forward as they had during our era.
That's awesome.
Outstanding. We're talking to the legendary Coach Bill Hayes, and that is a great take on the recent news here with Coach Bill Belichick coming. Because we had you on some time ago, and you talked about, you know, your recruiting style and how you recruited it, and then I talked about how I've met so many of your former players, coaches, and people that you've coached over the years, and they talked about how you personally impacted them as a man and how you helped them grow. And that reminded me that you talked about in your recruiting process. That's one of the things that you think about is how you're going to help this young person or young man become a man, a young athlete become a man. Talk about that real quickly.
when you think about it, if you get a group of 100 young men nowadays, probably 65, 70% of them are going to be fatherless.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think about it. They have not experienced the opportunity to go home every day and have a dad sitting at the kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I had to be father, coach, mother, friend to a huge number of young men down through the years. And what we did was during the off season on Wednesdays at 4:00, we taught life lessons. It's amazing how many kids with no father had no idea how to tie a necktie.
Yeah.
He don't know how to tie a necktie. He don't know how to put on a suit of clothes and get his shoes tied all the way up to the top, and just little basic things. Little things that you take for granted. Who's going to tell him? I mean, sometimes Mama won't know.
All right, Coach. Coach, man, I tell you, man, I'm sorry we up against it. We're going to go. Man, it's been great having you on.
Yes,
Coach, thank you so much, Coach.
Come on again, Coach.
We
man,
love
it's
you,
been
Coach.
a pleasure, Coach.
Yes.